hope and change for America, all of those were looking forward. As Harris has been trying to say, we're going forward, we're not going back, in contrast to a message that we're a sick society, a declining society, with a politics of vengeance and talking about retribution. It doesn't seem like history would suggest this is not the winning campaign. The optimistic one is, but of course, history is only telling us what happened in the past, so we'll only know by tomorrow night or the nights to come whether history is right this time.
Has there ever been a leader in modern American history as focused on retribution as the former president seems to be?
I haven't heard it in my lifetime, certainly. In fact, when I think about the whole idea of retribution and vengeance at a time when you're hopefully trying to broaden the base of your support, what Kamala Harris has been talking about is the idea of bringing to the table her opponents who are not her enemies, bringing Republicans into the cabinet. And I think about old Abe Lincoln, who Nancy Pelosi mentioned in terms of public sentiment, what he said at the time when the Civil War was coming to an end, when many of his supporters were saying, you've got to get retribution against the people in the South. There should be hangings even of the Confederate generals and Confederate leaders. And he absolutely turned them away. He said, I want no hangings. I want no retribution. I want to move forward. It's a time for healing. And he said, we have to end this hate. We have to end it and have a time for healing. And then, of course, those famous words in the second inaugural, if only we could have them today, when he talked about the fact that both sides had read the same Bible, both prayed to the same God, neither's prayers were fully answered. And then, with malice toward none and charity for all, let us bind up the nation's wounds. That's what you need at times of trouble, binding up the nation's wound. That's what we need as a country right now.
I mean, Lincoln was so suited to the times that he found himself in. His mom died when he was a child. He helped make the coffin with his father that she was buried in. I mean, the suffering that he himself had experienced, he was uniquely suited to lead this country at that time. And to think that after, winning the Civil War, to not give in to this idea of retribution against those who fought, who tried to secede, that's an extraordinary thing.
And what it takes is empathy and magnanimity. Empathy is the most important quality, I think, right now that we need in our country, with the polarization and people feeling that the people on the other side are others rather than common American citizens. So that those qualities that Lincoln had ever since he was a little boy, really, that were put on display finally when the war was being won, to not want to go against the people who he'd been against, but rather to bring them up and empathize with their situation. If only we could have that. We need that not only in this election, it's going to be what's going to be taking us as people. There are going to be a lot of people disappointed however this election goes. And whoever the leader is has got to reach out to that other side and make them feel we're common American citizens. That's what Teddy Roosevelt warned against at the turn of the 20th century, that people on other sides were feeling themselves from different sections or regions or parties as the other rather than as common American citizens. We have to bring back that sense that we have common American citizens and we can get through this time. It's going to take a while, but I still have, again, history tells us we'll get through this.
Well, that is so the comforting thing, and this is one of the reasons we love talking to you, particularly at times of division and crisis, that the cycles of history repeat, that we have all, there are people been here before us who were just like us. They wore different clothes, they, didn't live as long, they didn't have antibiotics, but, they went through the same struggles, and we as a country had been through even far worse struggles than we go through today.
You're so right. And people living at those times, people living during the Civil War, people living during the Great Depression, people living during the early days of World War II, they did not know how it would end. We don't know how ours is going to end. We know now the Civil War came to an end with emancipation secured. The Depression came to an end. We know the Allies won World War II. They had the same anxiety we have, but it turned out somehow America emerged stronger than before. So we've got to just hope that the combination of leaders and citizens who take up their responsibilities, in this case, the best vengeance, of course, is to go to vote. And when they take up their responsibilities, we somehow come through. It's not just optimism. I know that's part of my temperament, but it's more than that. It's reality of what perspectives and lessons and solace history can give us. And that's why it's so sad to me that it's not being taught more in schools. If kids don't have a sense that we've been through these hard times before, no wonder that younger generation feels anxious. That's why they got to learn about us. They got to know about America.
Yeah, Doris Kearns Goodwin, it was great to talk to you. Thank you so much.